Hello YouTube, this is me again. Just wanted to check back in, like I promised on my last video, as far as the transitioning out of the military. I just wanted to give you guys a status update on how I am doing and how things are going for me. So today marks technically the first month that I have been out. Um, I cannot really say anything bad about me being out so far. Loving every moment of it, really. I did enroll in school, which I had done that prior to me getting out. I started school August the 18th this year, and it's just been, normal 7 to 11, Monday through Friday, me going to school type ordeal. No problems there. I actually like it because it does give me a schedule, something to look forward to each day. Um, and it keeps me busy, keeps the mind busy, and that's one of the major things that most people say is that as long as you keep your mind busy, you'll never be bored, and you'll stay healthy. So I believe it, and it stands true as of right now. I mean, I have no complaints really. The school I'm going to right now is a cooking school here in Orlando, a very prominently known cooking school. I won't really put them out there. Love it so far. Only complaints that I have is that I have not received my BAH yet. Again, I started school on the 18th of August, so here it is, September the 9th, and I still have not received any funds. It hasn't been quite a month yet, but again, the school should have sent the information over to the VA so that I could go ahead and start getting paid. But of course, with anything, just like in the military, how you had to check up behind people to make sure they were doing what they were supposed to do, it seems to be the natural trait nowadays with any organization or company or whatnot. You always have to go behind and make sure everybody is doing what they're supposed to do. And you want to make sure you're doing that because it's benefiting you at this point. That's your money that's going to be going into your account. So you want to make sure your school is doing what they're supposed to do and sending over the documentation to the VA so that you can get paid. But other than that, like I said, school is great. My grades are fantastic. Getting into a routine outside of school has been a little bit difficult for me because for the most part, typically I just come home, I go see my boyfriend and whatnot, and then, for lunch, and then, come home and pretty much do whatever, I want to do for the rest of the day. I've thought about picking up a job, but then again, it's like, am I ready? And it's the same thing with school. I recommend anyone who is recently getting out, don't jump into anything that you're not really mentally and emotionally ready for. You don't want to prematurely jump into anything because you're using your benefits, when you're going to school, even if it's a school you're not certain about, that's fine, but at the same time, you want to keep into account and keep in mind that the money that your GI Bill entitles you to, it's now ticking. That time is ticking now. The money is ticking. So as you go to school, the amount of available funds or whatnot or time is ticking now. So you want to be smart about what school you choose. And I've noticed even over the past month, I had one thing in mind, and over this past month now it's like, okay, well, I see things a little bit clearer now, and I may want to switch programs. If you're going to a traditional four-year college, I may want to switch majors or whatnot. And you're going to tailor things to fit to you, but you always have to keep in mind, hey, the GI Bill is paying for everything, but at the same time, it's not unlimited. It's limited, and you want to always bear that in mind because, again, you don't want to spend 2 years in any college or program and turn back around and say, you know what, I could have dropped this program, or I could have picked up, like for me, I'm doing an AA in cooking or whatnot, or culinary arts, AA of science or culinary arts or whatnot. and they offer a diploma program. So recently I've been like, okay, well, they have a diploma program which is offering me what I've been looking for, which is the basic foundations of cooking. And I asked myself, I'm like, do I really want to go through their associate's program? Do I really need to? This school in particular, again, I'm not going to name them, but they did not take really any credits from what I earned in the military. Not only just the military, but even the universities or colleges that I went to while in the military, through online or whatnot. And they didn't take a lot of those. Then, of course, on top of that, for me, the associate's program versus the diploma program obviously is going to be a lot cheaper. So you really have to weigh, like, okay, would it really be worth me taking the associates? And not only that, come to find out, the school that I'm going to, the credits that I'm earning, even if I were to participate in the associate's program, those core classes that I am taking through this program at this school, they would not transfer pretty much damn near to no college. They are certified, but however, it's set up so that you have to pretty much go through them through associate's and bachelor degree and move on from there. And for me, that's a big minus, because I don't just want to do just a degree in cooking. Yes, I love cooking, and I definitely want to find out, or learn about all the foundations and whatnot. But at the same time, I have some other interests. And while I have the money, the GI Bill to pay for me to go to school, why not broaden my horizons and not just do one program? I can go to school after I get done with this program and gain what I really came here for. So for me, that's why, I chose, hey, look, or I'm choosing, I haven't yet put it in motion, but I'm choosing to go to the diploma program. Financially, I'm good. I did receive a involuntary separation pay. It wasn't great, but at the same time, it was substantial. So for me, and like I told most people before I even got out, this was my plan, and pretty much I stuck to that plan. I changed it up just a little bit. My plan was to originally pay a year in advance for rent. I decided against that. I decided to pay at least 6 months, and the reason why I did that was because for me, in the amount of money that I did receive, if I were to have paid the whole year, yes, my rent would have been paid a year in advance. However, it would have left me with a lesser amount as far as raw cash, pocket cash, saving cash, or whatnot. Cash that's readily available for me in case any emergency arises. And I wanted to have enough money in my pocket to where I could pay rent in advance. I could have money in savings or whatnot. And of course, a little bit of money just to splurge on. For everybody, each person, their priorities are going to be a little bit different, and that's fine. But for me, hey, look, I worked hard for it. I earned it. I put in 10 plus, almost 11 years. And it's not saying I spent $10,000 on just foolishness, no. But I did take some of that money, and for example, I spent money for me to go up to visit my daughter. Me and her father recently transferred custody. We have split custody or whatnot, or shared custody, and she's up there with her dad now. So definitely, she went up in June. So definitely, I wanted to take some of that money to pay for a plane ticket, pay for a hotel, and I had to pay for, the car rental. And when I got up there, of course, I'm going to take that's my only child, so I'm going to take her shopping to make sure she's okay with clothes and stuff like that. And we went to a couple, places up there in that area. And, that's just an example of what I did with some of the money that I didn't put towards a necessity. But at the same time, the first thing that I did was made sure that I paid my rent at least 6 months in advance. I'm not giving you the exact, months in advance, but I would strongly recommend any and everybody who is getting out that is receiving a involuntary separation pay. I don't know if they have a voluntary separation pay. I doubt it. But anybody who's receiving any kind of lump sum pay from the military that's getting out, why not go ahead and take that money and pay your rent or your mortgage in advance? Because if you think about your bills, the primary bill out of all of your bills is normally going to be rent or mortgage. If I can pay that in advance, what's the light bill? I live in a 1-bedroom apartment right now. Now, even if you stay in a 2 or 3-bedroom apartment, at most it's going to be $300 and some change for like a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1-car garage per month. You can scrape together a whole, a whole lot easier, $300 and some change, as opposed to $1,000 or $1,000+ rent or mortgage. So go ahead and pay that rent up. That gives you some time to fall back on to where you don't have to work. Because I think everybody, especially after working a career or whatnot, I think it's very important that everyone takes some time out to break. You need to break. It's a they don't call it transition for nothing. You're transitioning. You're getting used to being out, and depending on how long you've been in. For me, I've been in for almost 11 years, but for me it was a little bit different because I had already programmed my mind from the beginning that I'm always going to think military, but at the same time I'm always going to keep civilian on the other side as well. So that way, if I ever had to get out, if I ever got kicked out, it wouldn't be such a hard transition for me. I would be prepared. And I must tell you, me thinking ahead of time in that manner, it has helped me a lot. I don't struggle with a lot of things people who get out the military struggle with. As for schedule, as far as as far as being marketable, if you want to get a job, as far as what is my plans for school, or what are my plans in general. These are things that you need to know at least 3 to 4 months prior to getting out. You need to know what it is that you want to do once you get out. And it's not mandatory that you get out and you have to find a job. It's not mandatory that you get out and you have to go to school. But it will behoove you to have a plan. And I think that's the most, if anything, that's the most important thing. Have a plan. And not just have a plan, have a backup plan, and a backup plan to that backup plan, because things, happen. Life happens. Things fall through. And you want to be able to say, okay, this did not work. Let me go ahead and run plan C or run plan B. In the real world, you don't have programs and things of that nature like they do in the military, to where if you mismanage your money or you come up short, you can run to this place and they give you a grant or a low interest cost loan. They don't have that, and that's something you have to be mentally prepared for. But nonetheless, going back, I paid my rent up in advance, so I don't have to work, really. I'm going to school full time. So because my rent is paid up already for at least 6 months, the money that I'm receiving from the GI Bill, as far as the BAH or whatnot, that money is going to go, okay, I'm going to pay my electric and maybe my internet and my phone bill. Other than that, of course, if there's any bills that I need to pay, I'll pay on that. But the rest of that money, that's going to savings. I can stack that. And again, that's building up an emergency fund, or that's building up a fund, or a separate fund. You can create, however many funds you want to create. You can create an emergency savings fund. You can create a savings for vacation. You can create a savings for your children, if you have children or whatnot, for college. Or if you're trying to start your own business, you can create a business savings fund. So that way, when it comes down to the time that you want to open your business or get a business loan, you have X amount of dollars to put down. But in essence, what I'm saying is that me doing things the way I wanted to do it, which is paying things in advance, especially my rent, that was the primary bill that I was going to have before I got out, and that's what I did. It frees me to have more money available each and every month, because again, we live life, and anybody who's lived life, who's at least 25 years old, knows that life can throw emergencies in your path. You never know what could come up. Like me, I have a child, and she's not here with me, so if I had to jump on a plane right now, if there was an emergency that came up right now and I needed to go get my daughter, I have money in my banking account right now to where if I had to go jump on a plane today, pay for my plane ticket, round trip, and hers, I could do it. If my car breaks down, I can do that. And I'm not working. Again, it's not how much you make. It's not really, it's how you budget your money. That's what it boils down to. And when you budget this money, especially if you receive money for an involuntary separation pay or a lump sum of money, you need to know the most important thing with that money is knowing how to budget it. Knowing what important things to spend that money on. Because that's gonna set the whole tempo for you. Really, like right now, had I not paid my rent in advance, it's possible I would have had money left over to pay my rent for the next 2-3 months. But knowing us as human beings, we like to spend, especially Americans, right? We have commercials that come on, what, every 30 seconds or whatnot. I want to say every 30 seconds, depending on what show you're watching. But we have a lot of commercials. Why? Because it influences us to buy things that we really don't need to begin with. And it does such a great job that it works. So in American culture, we spend a lot of money on things we really don't need. To be honest, we really don't need. So in essence, what I'm saying is that had I not went ahead and paid it forward in advance, the first thing I did was paid it forward as far as my rent. It's possible I would have held on to a lot of that money and spent it on a lot of no good things that would have not gotten me or benefited me in the long run. Yeah, I can buy a nice computer or surround sound or put tint on my car or buy new furniture or, you know, save up or pay in advance for a vacation, but will that house me? Will that clothe me? Will that feed me? Will that take care of my basic, necessities? No. And had I not done that, because of the human inside of, or the human that I wear, the flesh, more than likely I would have spent a lot of that money, the gross part of that money, on things that will not benefit me in the long run. So a lot of times when you have a good thought in your mind, and especially with money, and you finally get that money, don't even wrestle with it in your mind. The first thing you should be doing with any lump sum of money is what you have planned when you didn't have that money, because 9 times out of 10 you will be thinking a lot more logical when you don't have that money in your pocket, or you don't have that money in your account to spend foolishly. A lot of times people plan right, but they don't execute right. You have to execute right. So for me, I was like, in advance, I'm like, hey, I'm going to get this money. And in the beginning, I said, a year. And I changed that because I saw the benefit of me having some money in my pocket in case anything went wrong or anything that I needed to take care of right then and there. I had that money available, because at the same time, I'm factoring in, okay, I'm going to school full time, so I'm going to receive the GI Bill. If I can at least pay up 6 months and me receiving my BAH for my GI Bill, I can still pay forward. And I can still pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it seemed logical to do it that way. So that way, the pressure for me to go find a job is not pressure. I'm not looking forward to working at all. Matter of fact, in the next 6 months, probably won't have to have a job. Probably won't. Matter of fact, I guarantee I won't. I won't say probably. I will not. And that was one of the things that I had planned before I got out. I said I will not hold a job for at least 6 months. I don't care if I have to collect unemployment based off of the GI Bill, and the BAH money that I'm receiving, and the lump sum of money that I am receiving. I will not have to have a job. And nobody who receives a lump sum from the military, I don't care if it's $7,000, whatever. If you plan it right and you budget it right, and when you get your money, you spend it right, you won't have to work for 6 months either. The core to that whole concept is planning. And not just planning, but executing. And if you're somebody that's bad with money, and, when you get money, you spend, you could put in a plan in it, you can formulate a plan in advance, but your execution sucks. Yeah, I can plan to, save up for 6 months, or I can plan to pay X, Y, and Z bills off for 6, 7 months. But if my execution lacks and I don't actually pay it, then what good does that do me? So I recommend for those people, find somebody that's going to be on you, and that's going to make sure that you follow through on all your plans and all your budgets. It's very important right now because you don't have a guaranteed paid check on the 1st and 15th. Your bills are not going to be paid for you, for people who had allotments and stuff like that, or had bank drafts where your bills were automatically coming out. They're no longer so because you don't have guaranteed income. Even with the GI Bill and the BAH, that whole amount is determined by your attendance in class. So let's say for me, for example, which I talked to my boyfriend about today, and I was telling him, hey, look, yeah, my balance, the amount that I get each month is not going to be the same. November's coming up. What do we have in November? Thanksgiving. In school, in general, normally you get off a week. So you have to think about these things ahead of time. Okay, in November, Thanksgiving's coming up. That's a holiday. That's going to be a whole week off of school. For your BAH, it's going to go prorated every day. So every day that you miss is going to be a deduction from your total amount that you receive in your BAH. Same thing with December. You have Christmas and New Year's, which New Year's is like right at the end of December, but the beginning of January or whatnot. So, but you have to plan for these things in advance. And again, it really would not affect you as much, or even if at all, if you go ahead and plan and pay your rent, your main bill, ahead of time. And for me, it's made my life so much simpler. So again, this is a month out, me being out of the military. I'm happy. I go to school Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'm out of school. I don't hold a job right now, even though I could if I wanted to earn extra money, but I'm not greedy. I'm living comfortably. I don't starve. My license is paid. Obviously, my rent is paid. I got a dog, which, let me see if I can show you. Mark. Yeah, this is my dog right here. So that's Mark. I got a little bit of depression. Not to do with the military or me getting out or anything like that, but just some typical demons that especially a lot of military people battle. But I would even go as far to say a lot of people in general in society battles. So pets can be very therapeutic. So I decided to go ahead and adopt him. Yeah, life is good. My car note's paid off. I made sure that was paid off ahead of time before I even got out or whatnot. Yeah, life is good. I have no complaints. Trying to formulate a plan to get back in the gym. That's another thing. Obviously, in the military, you normally have a normal schedule or routine where you work out. And in some branches, you work out every day. Some branches, it's only 2 times a week. Some branches, it's 3 times. Whatever schedule you have. But that's another thing that may be a little bit challenging because, like, right now for me, I don't really feel like doing a lot of different things, really. I'm going to school, but at the same time, I want that breaking period. But again, I want to make sure I maintain my health, and I want to make sure I stay healthy. I've gained a little bit of weight, but there is a threshold that I've set for myself, and not only that, I've already joined the gym or whatnot. It's just a matter of me actually motivating myself to go every day. But I still do get exercise, which is another reason why I got a pet, because with a pet you have to take them out to walk. With a dog at least, you have to take them out for walks and stuff like that. So that again, that's a difficult thing to incorporate in your day-to-day life for civilian world, but it can be done, and you have to keep yourself motivated, and you have to want to maintain a good health, and maybe a good self-image for you, if that's what counts. But I mean, overall, I'm happy. I'm very happy. I don't want for anything. I don't need for anything. And of course, the main ingredient for all of this is God. And I don't care if you don't believe in God or Jesus, my channel, whatever, my rules. But I do, and I can tell you this: since I've turned towards Him, which was like 3 or 4, I would say a good 4 months ago, 4.5 months ago, and have really started to study His Word or whatnot. Um, I've seen a lot of things work for me in my life. I really have, and yeah, God is good. He's good. So, but anyway, yeah, everything's going great. Again, don't let anyone tell you that you cannot, because you can. The military, again, is not a catch-all. So, in other words, if you leave the military, you're going to be SOL. There's nothing out there. You're doing the same thing that 90% of Americans, if not more, actually 99% of Americans are doing day in and day out. So don't ever let anyone misguide you or convince you that, oh, if you get out the military, you're going to be lost, or you're not going to be able to survive, and life is just going to be so tough. No. And even in the military, you have your ups and downs, and that's just part of life. Anyway, if you have any questions specifically for me, any comments or whatnot, leave it below. Yeah, so I guess I'll follow up with you guys in a month. Take care and God bless.